What's up guys, RGT85 here, and we have a bunch of news coming out in the video game world that is very good. All three of these stories that I want to talk about very briefly are very positive stories. We of course have to talk about Sony embracing crossplay finally, even though they hated it like 2 weeks ago. We also have new Castlevania news. A new Castlevania game is coming in the month of October exclusively to the PS4, and finally Nintendo has some really good news when it comes to their online service that I think a lot of people wanted clarification on, and honestly it's just good news all around. So sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's jump into these three stories and talk about what's going on in the gaming world.
Hey, RGT85. Hey, Sean.
Oh my god, it's Stevie Richards! Kumbaya, my lord, kumbaya. This generation has been very interesting when it comes to different video game companies and working with each other. We've seen a pretty strong connection between Nintendo and Microsoft this generation, which I didn't think I would ever think I would say, and it's a pretty cool thing to see. We see it, of course, with something called crossplay. Now, crossplay has been getting more and more steam lately. More and more games are starting to embrace crossplay platform connectivity because it's a good thing. It really increases the user base across these different games. You've seen it with games like Fortnite on the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox One. You've seen it with games like Rocket League on the Nintendo Switch and the Xbox One. But one company that has been against cross-platform play has been Sony. Now, of course, I've said many times that Sony doesn't really need to enter the cross-play market. They are the #1 selling console this generation, so they don't really need to embrace this sort of thing. But from a consumer standpoint, it would be good. From a business standpoint, I sort of understood it, but from a consumer standpoint, it would be good. Now, of course, when asked about things like cross-platform play, a few weeks ago, Sony simply said that PlayStation is the best place to play, and it seemed like they were never going to embrace this cross-platform play. Until today, where now they've said, hey, you know what, that cross-platform play, that's pretty cool. We want to get in on that. You know, that seems really hip and neat, and that's what the kids want. So yes, Sony has announced today that they will be entering the cross-platform play market. And they put out a press release that I want to go over very briefly, talking about it, and then sort of just summarize what's going on. So Sony had to say the following today about this cross-platform revolution. Following a comprehensive evaluation study, Sony Interactive Entertainment has identified a path toward supporting cross-platform features for select third-party content. We recognize that PS4 players have been eagerly awaiting an update, and we appreciate the community's continued patience as we have navigated through this issue to find a solution. The first step will be an open beta beginning today for Fortnite that will allow cross-platform play. We see this beta as an opportunity to conduct through testing that ensures cross-platform play is best on PlayStation while being mindful about the user experience from both a technical and a social perspective. This represents a major policy change for Sony Interactive Entertainment, and we are now in the planning process across the organization to support this change. We will update the community once we have more details to share, including more specifics regarding the beta timeframe and what this means for other titles going forward. So basically, I guess Sony maybe caught wind that people were a bit upset that they couldn't have cross-platform play on their third-party titles. And really, in 2018, I don't see why you shouldn't have cross-platform play. I understand that some systems have architectural differences and, you know, there's gameplay differences and things like that, but a game like Fortnite that's released across every platform, a game like Rocket League which is released across every platform, that's pretty much the same experience no matter where you play it. It sort of makes sense to me to have cross-platform play. You're gonna make these games healthier. You're gonna allow these games to have a larger user base, which means people will be continuing to play these games on your system. And I think people have their preferences when it comes to systems anyways, as far as which controller they like or which systems online features they like to play on more. So it just makes sense for Sony to do this. It's definitely interesting to see them double backing on this so soon, but it is a good thing in my opinion, because cross-platform play, I feel, is definitely one of the futures of gaming. It's worked very well for Nintendo and Microsoft so far. We've seen a lot of good things come from that, and I think this is a smart move for Sony. Good PR-wise, good for consumers, and I don't really foresee this having any sort of issue with their bottom line when it comes down to things, because people are still going going to play on the PlayStation 4 if that's the system they have. I don't think cross-platform is really a reason to buy another system or another game on another platform. So let me know in the comments down below what you think about Sony doubling back on this and coming to a conclusion so soon and allowing cross-platform play on the PS4. It's definitely a very interesting time in video gaming history to see all three companies having the same game on the same platform and being able to play with those people across any platform. Castlevania is a series that I love. I absolutely love Castlevania. Everyone should love Castlevania except the 3D ones. I don't really love those. But we've heard a lot of rumors that a new Castlevania or a Castlevania collection would be potentially coming from Konami. And when it comes to Konami, I don't hold my breath because I don't really want to pass out from holding my breath too long. But today, Konami announced Castlevania Requiem. And I'm very, very excited for this. So what is Castlevania Requiem? It's pretty much what we heard about rumor-wise. We saw something with the South Korean rating boards saying that something was going on with Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood. Then we got the ESRB involved as well, and they also confirmed this. But now today, Sony of Europe has confirmed that this will be a PlayStation 4 exclusive called Castlevania Requiem. Now, what is Castlevania Requiem? It is a combination of Castlevania Symphony of the Night and Rondo of Blood. It will be releasing on October 26th. This includes 4K 1080p upscaling, multiple high-resolution backgrounds, different rendering options such as smoothing and full trophy support. There's even DualShock 4 support with like a little speaker thing. When you find an item, it'll play a chime on the speaker. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, what's kind of curious about this though is that this is a PlayStation 4 exclusive. And while I'm not a port beggar or anything, I'm simply just going to pick it up on my PS4. It's kind of weird because why are casual people talking about Castlevania in 2018? Like the hardcore Castlevania fans, we've always been there. We've always wanted more. We've always wanted more information. It doesn't matter what platform it's on. But the casual person, the person who maybe forgot about Castlevania or isn't super into Castlevania, is thinking about Castlevania because of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate on the Nintendo Switch. So to not have a Switch version of this collection, I don't know. That's just kind of weird in my opinion. You would have think that Konami would have wanted this to be a multi-platform release, and you would have wanted to think that maybe Konami would want to tap into that Nintendo Switch market. Bloodstained Ritual of the Night sold best on the Nintendo Switch, like by far. People absolutely loved it. Seems like there's a large retro collection of people on the Nintendo Switch. So to have a Castlevania collection would make sense to be on the Nintendo Switch, in my opinion, especially with Super Smash Bros. Coming out in December. But I digress. Maybe they're working on something different for the Switch. Who knows? All I know is that Castlevania is back. Castlevania Requiem will be coming on October 26th. Symphony of the Night, Rondo of Blood, arguably the two best Castlevania games of all time, and I'm very excited for this. And to wrap things up, we have a bit of Nintendo Switch Online news that is very, very good, which is kind of weird to say because there's been a lot of negativity when it comes to Nintendo Switch's online service. It doesn't quite have the most robust features. It doesn't quite have this. It doesn't have that, but it is cheap and it does have NES Online games, so that is pretty cool. But one thing that a lot of people are using the Nintendo Switch Online service for is, of course, cloud saves. Now, with cloud saves, if something happens to your Nintendo Switch's hardware, you don't lose your saves. They are saved into the cloud and you can re-download all of your data, which is very important because as a portable system, you can easily drop it. You can leave it somewhere. Something could happen to it and then you're pretty much screwed because it doesn't save onto the cartridge. It saves onto the actual system. Well, one thing that has been going around with Nintendo Cloud Saves Online is the fact that evidently when you delete your Nintendo Switch's online app subscription service, you would lose your cloud save data. And that was coming off of the official FAQ from Nintendo of America. So a lot of people were like, well, what the hell? Like, what happens if it lapses or something happens and I'm not able to get it for a month? Why would my cloud saves go away? And then all of a sudden, a Nintendo of America representative via the customer service line said, oh, well, you could have them for like up to 7 days or something like that. And everyone was like, oh, well, you know, that still kind of sucks. But then Nintendo told IGN something completely different. They said the following when it comes to Nintendo Cloud Saves Online. If a Nintendo Switch Online membership expires, users won't be able to access their save data cloud backups. However, Nintendo will allow users who resubscribe within 180 days to access their previous saved data cloud backups. So you have 180 days, roughly 6 months, to access your Nintendo Switch data cloud backup. And it's like, okay, that's awesome. Like, I like that. That's a good thing. That's a positive thing. But why would you not specify that before this. Obviously, people have been talking about this. Obviously, it's been a complaint about Nintendo Switch's online service. Why would IGN have to reach out to Nintendo to get a statement on this, and then Nintendo says that back to them instead of just putting it in their FAQ, instead of just letting people know right off of the gate that, hey, this is how this works. You have 6 months if something happens to your Nintendo Switch's subscription service for the online aspect of it. You have 6 months to access your cloud data so that you can get these games back. And it's like, this should be something that's said on day one. This is something that every consumer should know when getting the Nintendo Switch's online service. That is a good feature to have. So to sort of just leave this out in the open and, you know, make it up for interpretation and then have to have IGN come forward and be like, yo, what's the deal with this? Like, is this gonna work? You know, how long do we have of a time frame? It just sort of shows that maybe Nintendo sort of doesn't get this whole online aspect quite yet. I think the online service will be getting better. I'm sure it'll get better over time, but it's definitely been a bit of a rocky start for Nintendo when it comes to the Nintendo Switch's online. Alright, and those are 3 news stories I wanted to go over. Sort of an RGT news episode. If you noticed, there wasn't an RGT news this morning. I'm sort of just doing news as it happens now, though. I think it's more fun this way. I think you can get a better reaction based on the news, and it allows me to do things in a more timely manner. So let me know if you enjoy this, or if you enjoyed the more structured format of RGT news. I'm just kicking around different ideas. Who knows what I'll do next on the channel. And as always, thank you for watching this video. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Let me know what you think about these 3 stories in the comment section down below. And as always, I will catch you guys on the next video. Later.